most people thought they was bullshitting when they said that they was gonna build a prison inside a swamp, surrounded by gators and pythons. Now for those that think this is modern day slavery, don't do the crime and your ass won't end up there. Now the first group of immigrants arrived at the detention center today. As you can see, they already advertising their merch. Now inside this facility, it's supposed to hold 5,000 detainees. This is gonna relieve pressure on the federal immigration jails. Now the only way off this island is through the alligators and the python wetlands. Count me out. As they have no worries about you trying to escape, because if you do, ooh, wait, it might be over for you. Meanwhile, you're gonna have a lot of people that say that this is fucked up. But this is all because of your president, Donald Trump. By his complete efforts to clear up immigration, this is what it's resulted to. All I'm gonna say is if you're thinking about escaping from there, you better be quick on your toes. Might as well call you Twinkle Toes.
Hello and welcome to this episode of One Man Podcast, where we'll be talking about Alligator Alcatraz, one of the detention camps that people that are in US that are not legal are being detained. But people are talking about the deplorable conditions that are there. They are very harsh conditions, mosquitoes, and harsh temperatures, and various other issues that are going on there. Lack of sanitation, little to no food, among other issues. So as you have heard from the first clips, you can sense that things are not going on as planned, and from the next clips you'll just hear how much it has gone. And if you have any comments, and you can put them on the comment section. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more. I'll be back at the end of the video for my summary, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Breaking news, they actually went through with it. Real giant alligators are now being used to surround a brand new detention center. That's right, actual alligators. Welcome to Alligator Alcatraz, a newly built immigration holding facility deep in the Florida Everglades, constructed in just 8 days. This place looks like something straight out of a dystopian movie. It's designed to hold up to 3,000 people at a time, most of whom were arrested simply for not carrying the right papers. Completely surrounded by swamp, this facility is enclosed by massive alligators and venomous snakes. They handpick the biggest, most aggressive gators and station them around the perimeter. For security reasons, they say. But people are already calling it inhumane and downright horrifying. The original plan? Finish it in just 72 hours. Yep, 3 days. Delays pushed it to 8, but still, the speed is insane. And now that it's done, escaping is pretty much impossible. Even experts agree. Anyone trying to escape would have to survive gators, pythons, and the deadly swamp terrain. Spoiler alert, you're not making it out. Is this peak innovation or pure evil? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
If you had any doubts that Alligator Alcatraz was the real name of this place, then doubt no further, because they have actually installed a real sign that points in the direction of Alligator Alcatraz. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I am being swarmed by mosquitoes right now. It is absolutely crazy. I'd be more worried about the mosquitoes, honestly, than the alligators. Oh my God. And this bug spray really is not doing its job. I'm telling you, these are like a different breed of mosquitoes. But anyway, we're gonna see how long I can last here. Here is the entrance to Alligator Alcatraz. You can see Florida Highway Patrol. Oh my God, these mosquitoes are crazy. I set up my tripod so I can talk to you guys, but I don't think I can even stand here. This is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this in one take because it is absolutely crazy. So, Alligator Alcatraz, you guys have probably heard of it by now. Obviously, this is like a really, really big topic. National media, especially here local. There's probably another member of the media pulling up right now. President Trump was here earlier this week. He got a tour of the site with the Department of Homeland Security. The governor, Ron DeSantis, was here as well.
Them criminal illegal aliens better watch out for those gators. This is cruel and inhumane. Shut up, libtard. You want open borders?
There is an entire spectrum of immigration policies between open borders and Alligator Alcatraz.
I would like us to make common sense immigration reforms that provide a path to citizenship, treat immigrants with humanity, and respect due process rights. They are illegals. They deserve Alligator Alcatraz. We don't even threaten serial killers on death row with death by alligator. We don't even condemn convicted murderers to such a dangerous and dehumanizing facility as this, and the majority of ICE detainees don't even have a criminal record. They don't deserve this. They came here illegally, so we're gonna get rid of them. Why are you people so incapable of having a conversation? You can do deportations in a way that is not cruel, that prioritizes criminals, that preserves due process rights. They don't have due process rights. They're illegals. That's just not true at all. Yeah, it is. Okay, what's your source? Where did you hear that? YouTube. Mine's the Constitution.
Just in case you don't know what's going on, a girl on TikTok came on here and said that one of her neighbors received a government contract asking them to install a bunch of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. They're installing incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz is on indigenous land. It's like protected land. 2, there are migrants. There's people being washed ashore with shackles on. People are finding people on beaches wearing shackles. This is the level that we're at. There's another girl on TikTok who is tracking flights, government flights, or like leaving detention centers, and they are just going out into the ocean and then turning around. Just going out and turning around. The flights are not making it to their destinations. 2 + 2 does not equal 4. You understand what's going on right now. There's another guy on TikTok who said that he got pulled over by the cops. He's an American citizen. He just happened to have a Spanish last name. And they went and they looked through his information. They were like, we can't find you in any system. He's like, well, huh? He had like several IDs because he lived in a couple of different states. He was like, well, I have this ID. I have my motorcycle ID. I have this. And then the cops were like, oh, you can thank your friends at ISIS. So they're taking people, American citizens. He's white, by the way. He just had a Spanish last name. They're taking people who have American nationals who have Spanish last names, removing them from databases so that when they get pulled over by cops and people like that, they go, oh, you're not in the system. You're an illegal immigrant. You're an illegal alien. So they can detain them. Do you understand what's going on right now?
People trying to compare Alligator Alcatraz to a concentration camp is not only disingenuous, but it's absolutely disgusting because these two hold absolutely no parallels.
They hold no parallels, huh? Well, let's just see what the dictionary has to say about that. Concentration camp. Let's look at the definition. A place where a large number of people, such as prisoners of war, political prisoners, refugees, or the members of an ethnic or religious minority, are detained or confined under armed guard. Seems to me that Alligator Alcatraz precisely meets the definition of a concentration camp. And in your video, you go on to defend the need for Alligator Alcatraz and why it's not even close to a concentration camp and how it's disgusting to compare the two. This is exactly how the camps in Poland started. They didn't start as unaliving camps. They started as concentration camps. And it's interesting that you're taking this position because it's not like this is uncharted territory for us. This exact thing has happened before in this country with the Japanese internment camps. And that, to this day, is a stain on the moral history of this country. And the lack of learning from our history notwithstanding, it's a strange take in general just to be defending anything that comes remotely close to a concentration camp. Because the people who have done that have never been on the right side of history.
People trying to compare Alligator Alcatraz to a concentration camp is not only disingenuous, but it's absolutely disgusting because these two hold absolutely no parallels.
Lock in, fuck niggas. We about to fact check this shit. First, if you fuck with me, make sure that follow button. Let's get it. Okay, what the hell are you talking about? You definitely can compare Alligator Alcatraz to a concentration camp. I mean, the literal definition of a concentration camp is holding a group of people with no due process in harsh conditions. That's Alligator Alcatraz. And it's baffling to hear you say that Alligator Alcatraz is nothing like a concentration camp when we see that Donald Trump is doing the same thing that they were doing in the 1940s with the Japanese internment camp. FDR signed an executive order basically deporting or relocating Japanese Americans from the United States that he deemed as a threat. And what did Donald Trump did in his first day in office? Said the south of the border was a national emergency. We also have to understand is that Alligator Alcatraz isn't the only concentration being built here in America. And just like FDR, Donald Trump is trying to play this idea as this is supposed to be the protection and the safety for the American people. This is why he pushes the stories of rare moments when undocumented migrants do cruel crimes to other people. Although migrants are less likely to commit a crime than a person who was born here in America. Donald Trump is trying to push this fear of migrants to justify the cruelty that they're facing under his administration. Kinda sounds like someone, doesn't it?
Look, I don't know need to hear this, but all I can say is I told you. Y'all think God play? He don't. Let me say this loud so the blind and the deaf can hear this. God don't play about his people. Alligator Alcatraz has flooded. It's official. Alligator Alcatraz has flooded. It wasn't no climate change. But they said it could survive all these natural storms. It couldn't even survive the rain on Tuesday. That place was already demonic. Everybody think it drowning was a coincidence. It wasn't. My name is Keem. I do motivational content on TikTok, and I want to talk about how Alligator Alcatraz just flooded. I mean, y'all couldn't even last one day. Alligator Alcatraz was made to house immigrants, mothers, fathers, refugees. And they claimed that it was safe. Even the president went there to say it was safe. Smiling, laughing, all happy. And then one day it flooded from rain. Simple rain. It wasn't no traumatic storm or nothing like that. This is the government that y'all put hope in. This place was made to house migrants. People who ran from war, poverty, and death. The U.S. government put them in a swamp-infested death trap full of gators, snakes, barbed wire, and water. And now it's flooded. And y'all think it's a game. But God don't play about his people. It don't matter if they migrants. It don't matter the color. All people are his people. That's not nature. That's justice. Think God gonna stay silent while people are caged and tortured? Behind fake fences and water? Y'all think God ain't watching every single wicked thing that's being done on earth right now? Then y'all sadly mistaken. That flood was a message. Anytime something demonic get flooded, that's a message. That's a warning. If you still staying silent, comfortable and complicit, there's something wrong with you. It don't matter if it's not your problem. That don't mean you ain't part of the problem. The problem is it's evil wrapped in law and order. You gotta stop making these things okay. Cause God watching his people. Even if you feel like they not his people, they still is. You not gonna speak up for real? Then you might as well just sit on the sidelines. Alligator Alcatraz, you can clearly see it ain't safe. It ain't even safe for the alligators themselves. And think about it. Imagine if they actually stopped putting people there, and then it was a flood, and every gator in that water was on land. No guards, no fences. You gotta fend for yourself, right? That's what the setup was. But unfortunately, God made sure ain't nobody touched foot on that property before something was done. This is an eye-opener. Nobody controls nothing in this world but God. Not your government, not your politicians, not even the damn alligators in that water. If God wants his people safe, they're gonna be safe. And I ain't picking sides, I'm just saying. At the end of the day, like I said in my first video, this was done to you, how would you feel? That's what determines what you stand up for. Because the government gonna put it in your face until you feel like it's okay. And then they gonna do it to you. And if nobody told you, remember Chemo told you, stay motivated. And I know them government officials mad as hell.
There is only one reason, and one reason only, why the lights are kept on 24 hours a day. And that is torture. Don't call it anything else. It's torture. Anytime you keep someone deprived of their sleep, of their rest, when they don't know whether it's daytime or nighttime, when there are no clocks, when there's a disruption in their circadian rhythm, and you don't allow them to have a good night's sleep, it's torture. And let's not forget, these are not dangerous criminals. These are people accused of merely running a red light, having an expired license, being in process of their asylum. Even the highest maximum secure prisons have lights out at a certain time of night because denying sleep is a form of torture. And as a result, these people can become combative. Yeah, I guess so. No sleep, no rest, not knowing whether it's day or night. What is the need of keeping the lights on 24 hours other than torture? Let's call it what it is. These are not violent people. And by the way, you have categorized each one of them with bands, different color bands, but yet you house them in the same place. So what difference does it make whether they have a yellow, orange, or a green band? It's a concentration camp. It's a cage that holds 32 people with 3 toilets. And to add insult to injury, they have to brush their teeth and drink their water from the toilet. What they're doing in Alligator Alcatraz is inhumane.
They can't call it a concentration camp because then they'll have to admit to themselves that they voted for the guy that built the concentration camp. So they spruce it up, create some merchandise like that's a totally normal thing to do for a prison. It's not. And then they'll use the same talking points that the Bush administration used back in the early 2000s. That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, so most of them just ignore it. It's our job to make sure they don't.
Y'all are taking photos in front of the Alligator Alcatraz sign like it's Disneyland. And honestly, it's giving the same energy as white folks who lynched black people and then took photos and had picnics with their children and loved ones under our dead swinging corpses. Something that isn't being spoken about enough are the connections between internment camps like Alligator Alcatraz, the detention centers in Louisiana, and the prison industrial complex. The horrifying truth is that it's often the same companies profiting from these varying systems of carcerality. For example, I bet you didn't know that GEO Group owns, operates, and manages multiple ICE detention centers in Louisiana and over 20 prisons across the country. So why does this matter? Because one of the outcomes of the big ugly bill being passed is that it gives ICE a $75 billion budget, and a lot of that money is now being funneled right into these contractors' pockets to exacerbate the growing crises of mass incarceration and mass deportation. I had a chance to speak with SEIU President April Verrett at Essence Fest in Louisiana about this. Here's what she had to say.
There are 8 detention centers here in the state of Louisiana. Horrible atrocities are being played out against working people who have only come to this country for a better life. But it is absolutely one of the things that is very American. If you think about America since 1619 and how it has been built on economic exploitation, on white supremacy, on racism.
As American as apple pie.
I asked ChatGPT what it thinks about Alligator Alcatraz, and this is what it said. This is its opinion, because I asked, I want to know what you think about it. My opinion on Alligator Alcatraz, it's dystopian, not just in the metaphorical sense, but literally a remote swamp prison for migrants surrounded by alligators with people reportedly sleeping in extreme heat without proper food, water, or medical care. That's not immigration policy. That's cruelty in costume. Why it feels so alarming. Weaponized location, putting it in the Everglades far from media, courts, and public oversight. That's not just about logistics, it's a choice to isolate, dehumanize, and set a message. You don't belong and no one's coming to get you. The optics are intentional. Politicians are calling it deterrence, but let's call it what it is, a theatrical flex of power. A swamp prison with alligators? That's not subtle, it's spectacle. Basic human dignity is absent. No showers, sandwiches once a day, water from toilets, people stripped of medication and prayer items. These are not logistical oversights, they're decisions. What it really says about us as a society. Alligator Alcatraz isn't just a policy failure, it's a moral and symbolic line in the sand. One that says, we will make you suffer so others are too afraid to come. Even if you believe in strong borders, this isn't about law enforcement. This is about humiliation as strategy. Bottom line, we're not meant to solve complex global migration with cages and gators. The U.S. can and should protect its borders without abandoning its humanity.
Alligator Alcatraz is a proving ground for more horrible things to come. If you're wondering why they only built one, stuck in the middle of nowhere on an airstrip in harsh conditions with basic tents and cages and cots and water that has to be trucked in because it doesn't have any running water, here's why. It's not just because they want to be authoritarian dicks, which they do. It's because they want to do this across the country, near farms, so that they can round up all the farm workers that, illegal or otherwise, throw them in the cage, and then using the only way you can get free slave labor, putting them back to work without having to pay them. Think about it. And I said this long before Alligator Alcatraz thing ever came up, that this was the idea all along. These concentration camps are worker camps. They're going to be. And they're going to be everywhere. You're going to be driving across America, going on vacation, passing by cornfields and soybean fields, and there's going to be a little tent city full of, cages and people working the fields under, authoritarian regime. You can't convince me that that's not what this is all about. And in those fields, they'll have water for the crops, and they'll have to truck water in. They're not going to build infrastructure for it. These people are going to live out in the wild. This administration's back is against the wall because farmers are losing their crops left and right, especially in the West, in the areas where we grow oranges and more tropical fruit like that. They're dying on the vine. Apples are dying on the vine. Corn is withering, and soybeans are dying because no one's there to pick them. The lettuce, all of it, all your groceries. That old-fashioned word that he didn't know if you knew or not. Yeah, it's all dying out there in the fields because the workers won't show up, or they're being rounded up and sent away.
In my first Alligator Alcatraz video, I talked about primarily the environmental impacts. Now I'm going to talk about it as a whole. And this is coming from a 6th-generation Floridian people. Number one, I got a lot of pushback from people saying, it's just supposed to be temporary. Don't get so mad. Don't get upset about this. If you think they're going to invest all this time, all this money, all this marketing, all this promotion into something that in a few months they're going to pack it all up and go move it somewhere else, you are sorrowfully mistaken, my friend. There are already plans to expand it. This is the prime example of if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Except in this case, they will take so much more than a mile. They will take the whole damn thing. Number two, the conditions in Alligator Alcatraz are absolutely abhorrent. They do not allow inspections from independent parties. The one time that people did come, they turned them away. Then a few weeks later, they gave them a sanitized tour. That is not representative of how it actually is in there. The turnaround rate of the guards is crazy. Many guards will work for 1 week, then quit because the conditions are so abhorrent. There are millions of mosquitoes. There is flooding every single time it rains. The toilets are backing up. And for the people who justify this saying, well, they shouldn't have broken the law, they shouldn't have come in here, guess what? You can tell how healthy a society is by how it treats the people that it incarcerates. I also have to say, being undocumented is not a criminal offense, it is a civil offense. And the difference between civil and criminal offenses are civil offenses are about remedying a dispute between two parties. Criminal offenses are about punishing criminal behavior. A civil offense is not supposed to be punished. It's not supposed to be punished, and especially not supposed to be punished in such a vile and hidden, secretive way. Now, for people who are surprised that I'm making a video like this, a political video, I think standing up for people is not a political thing. I also got to say, every one of my videos is about empathy, compassion, doing what's right, standing up for nature, standing up for people who can't defend themselves. The entire premise of morality and laws was created to defend people who could not stand up for themselves in the first place. There's also a huge thing that there are no hard decisions in this world. I believe this. We know in our souls what the right decisions to do are, and the hard part is convincing ourselves to do the easy thing, to do the bad thing. You know, the hard part is actually wrestling with the fact that you know what the right decision is, and this is exactly one of those times, people. There's someone, I can't remember who it was, they said, what you do to the least of people, you do to me. And maybe a lot of people need to remember that. Do not lose your compassion, do not lose your empathy, do not lose your love, do not lose your soul to political issues. You can have political opinions and not lose your soul.
So Trump supporters are now saying that they don't want Donald Trump to just deport migrants to Alligator Alcatraz, but they want him to deport the entire Hispanic population to Alligator Alcatraz, even if they are U.S. citizens. So here is what Laura Loomer, a top MAGA influencer who often has the ears of the president, just posted on her account. Quote, alligator lives matter. The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. So guess how many Hispanics there are in the United States? That's right. 65 million. So what Laura Loomer is advocating for here is for Donald Trump to send the entire Hispanic population to be eaten alive by alligators at his internment camp. What are we doing here, guys? And how is it possible that he increased his voter share among Latinos in the 2024 election? That will never make sense to me, and this is crazy.
The rhetoric of feeding 65 million people to alligators is not the chilling part of this tweet. The chilling part is how she got to that number. This is not about undocumented people in America. There are suspected 10 to 12 million undocumented human beings in America. This number is 65 million. There is only one equation that gets you to 65 million. And that is every human being in America of Latin and Hispanic descent. Anyone. Undocumented, legally immigrated, naturally born citizen. Yes, that includes children. This person is an advisor to the Trump administration. It's psychopathic. This is 1930s Germany. And don't say we didn't warn you. Because we did.
Anyone else interested on how MAGA is responding to Alligator Alcatraz? I mean, I don't think he'll be surprised. Carol wants to get some popcorn and watch a cage match. Judy's mad that we're still feeding them. Patricia wants to fill up those beds. Scott hopes there's no AC. Chuck thinks it'd be fun to have cameras in there so we can watch this. Michael hopes they have pre-made escape doors so he can watch human beings be eaten by alligators. Rosita wants to incorporate some different animals. Jeffrey hopes the hurricane is coming. JD says yes, so we can get a cleansing. Deb said something had to be done. Another one mad that we're giving humans food. These are real responses from people. They've totally dehumanized this population. I wish there was a time I can remember where we did this. Ella, Philip, Edward, Katie. You wonder how it happened? Yeah, you guys, these comments, I guess they're not eating the cats and dogs. I guess they're going to eat the alligators and snakes. Julie wants to sponsor an alligator or two, but not humans. Whatever it takes. This is what we voted for. Woo! Paula's mad that they get beds. Mike wants to live stream the escapes. Sandy wants to see them bathing in the water outside. No bathrooms or showers. Cindy, bullshit that they get 3 meals a day. Aaron wants to see liberals sent there. And Corey wants the beds stacked 10 feet high with 2 feet between the beds. It's not cruel enough. Yeah, so the answer is they're celebrating. They love it. They love it. They want it televised. They want to eat popcorn while they watch people suffer. Yeah, this is America. This is America.
Standing at that door and hearing from hundreds of people, help me, help me. One guy was yelling, call my family, tell my wife I'm okay. He started yelling a phone number. I couldn't necessarily make it out because it was too loud. I saw myself in those cages. It was a lot of people my age that looked like me. And when I was walking out of the facility, and I don't like to call it the name that they've given it, they're doing it to make light of it and sell merch. I'm not going to be part of that. As I was walking out, though, it hit me that I'm I'm the first Afro-Cubano in Congress. I'm walking out of there thinking to myself, I'm going to be one of the only people that looks like me, that is Latino, that will walk into this facility and walk out on my own accord. And
And it goes to show exactly what this is meant to do. The administration is essentially trying to ethnically cleanse the country of Latinos, of Haitians, because I'll tell you, when I was in that facility, I didn't see any, Europeans who've overstayed their visa or anything like that. It was all Latinos, all Haitian people, and nothing else.
We should stop calling this facility they're building Alligator Alcatraz and call it what it is. It's Alligator Auschwitz. And that's what it is. If you're for this, then we know what side of the German population you'd have been on in the 40s. This facility looks exactly like the facilities built by the mustache guy in the 40s in Germany. And if you don't believe me, look up the facility and then look up Auschwitz. The facilities look almost identical, except for the new ones are much more modern and, white. But other than that, they're the same kind of facility. I'm sorry, we should stop calling this place Alligator Alcatraz. That makes it seem like a prison. This is not a prison. This is not a place that violent criminals are going to be going. This is a place where farm workers and people who piss off the government are going to be going. They're already talking about denaturalizing citizens. They already want to strip you of your citizenship so that they can throw you into Alligator Alcatraz. And it's not going to be Alligator Alcatraz. It's going to be Alligator Auschwitz.
Stop calling it Alligator Alcatraz. They're internment camps. Call them what they are, because if you adhere to their marketing, you minimize the impact and reality of what they really are. Aside from the fact that these illegal immigrants are getting rounded up by plainclothes members of ICE and are not getting due process, these are beds wrapped in cages under a tent. Temporary structures that are apparently supposed to weather the storms of hurricane season and extreme heat. Oh, but Biden and other Democrats had people in cages as well. That's bad. That's bad too. I don't think you understand. Just because they did it, it doesn't mean these people also get to do it. That's wrong, so this is wrong. We already have ICE detaining U.S. citizens and deporting them to countries they've never been to. How many U.S. citizens are going to be put in these camps as part of the mass deportation plans? Trump is already discussing denaturalizing U.S. citizens. He wants to arrest Zohran Mamdani out of New York if he doesn't agree with ICE. Between the inhumane sales of Alligator Alcatraz merch and the medieval-style mindset of Ron DeSantis saying, if someone escapes, you know there's a lot of alligators, no one's going anywhere, is grotesque. Oh, and mind you, Florida's going to front the bill and then submit reimbursement requests from the federal government. So your tax dollars are paying for this. They can build this in 8 days. And he's considering building a second one at Camp Blanding, a guard training base. But yet we just can't seem to build anything for the homeless. We can't seem to find money to feed people and children and healthcare, but we can build this and fund it in 8 days. Each bed costs $245 a day to maintain. Times 5,000, which is their capacity, is $450 million a year. Times that by 2 because he wants to build a second one. That's almost $1 billion a year for these temporary structures. So don't talk to me about waste and fraud and abuse. Call it what it is, because when they fill that camp with people, they are not going to get the due process that they were promised as per our Constitution, whether they are a citizen or not.
Less than 10% of those who have been detained by ICE recently actually have violent criminal records. So what's happening is they are detaining cooks, they're detaining housekeepers, and they're detaining immigrants who had legal status 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, before the Trump administration revoked temporary protected status from the Haitian community, from the Cuban community, from the Venezuelan community, from many more. Folks that had legal status ripped away just recently who were in the United States on a legal parole program. And now they're being told that they don't self-deport, then they're going to be dumped in the Alligator Alcatraz immigrant detention camp and then sent back maybe to a country that's not even their country of origin. Right. We know that this is cruel, it's inhumane, it's totally un-American, and we should be reflecting on that as we enter the 4th of July holiday, because we here as lawmakers, we are patriots. Yes. And we believe in the Florida and U.S. Constitution that protects everyone's right to due process. And yes, that includes our immigrant population.
That's right.
They have the constitutional right to due process. We don't know that that is being respected. We have a lot of questions about the conditions inside. We have a lot of questions about the fact that the facility is flooding before they have even allowed people to be brought in. We got real concerns here, and we're expecting to be let in because we as lawmakers have the ability to conduct that type of oversight and visibility to make sure that we can see what's happening here.
My cousin just called me and she was like, oh, Nate, they need medical staff at Alligator Alcatraz. And I'm like, bitch, I'm not working at no motherfucking concentration camp. Y'all be willing to sell y'all soul for a couple dollars. And I just got morals. And the thing is, I don't like how they treating them fucking people. No, I'm not going out there to work. What kind of shit is that? And then y'all be risking y'all lives for $25 an hour. Y'all finna go out there with pythons, alligators, mosquitoes, malaria, and all kind of other shit for that little bit of ass money. What the fuck is $25 an hour? When money be involved, people do anything. And honestly, to me, I don't care how much money you get. When you don't got no morals and the way you getting it, you always gonna be poor to me. And morally bankrupt people always gonna be poor to me in my eyes, because all you care about is money. You don't even care how you getting it. No, I'm not fucking going out there to work at a fucking concentration camp and they treating people like fucking shit. Y'all crazy.
I've never wished death by alligator upon anyone, but if you're one of those freaks taking your children to the Alligator Alcatraz sign like it's a damn tourist attraction, I hope an alligator clocks you. I hope that an alligator comes from out of the brush hole, grabs your arm, grabs your neck, grabs your leg, does a death roll with you in it, because you know what's really fun? You know it's a fun family outing, a fun family affair, your funeral. And then I hope a kind random stranger is nice enough to teach your child what you failed to teach them, which is compassion and empathy. And if none of that happens, at minimum, I hope the photos that you're taking of your child are done so with a G7X, and I hope it falls in the water.
Just to be clear, we knew that Alligator Alcatraz was going to be committing human rights abuses, and it opened on July 3rd, 2025, and we already have firsthand accounts of these abuses. The conditions there are beyond inhumane, and I'm going to read you word for word what people who are in prison there are experiencing. One of the testimonies comes from a reggaeton artist named Limzy La Figura. He is quoted saying, "I am Limzy La Figura. We have been here at Alcatraz since Friday. There's over 400 people here. There's no water to take a bath. It's been 4 days since I've taken a bath." He also states they only brought a meal once a day and it had maggots. They never take off the lights for 24 hours. The mosquitoes are as big as elephants. Now, there are some people who want to remain anonymous because they are scared of retaliation, and I'm still going to read their words as well. One man said, "They're not respecting our human rights. We're human beings. We're not dogs. We're like rats in an experiment." I don't know their motive for doing this, if it's a form of torture. A lot of us have our residency documents, and we don't understand why we're here. A third person who has been in prison is Colombian, and he is quoted saying, "I'm on the edge of losing my mind. I've gone 3 days without taking my medicine. It's impossible to sleep with this white light that's on all day." He also states, "They took the Bible I had, and they said here there is no right to religion, and my Bible is the one thing that keeps my faith, and now I'm losing my faith." A Guatemalan man who was in prison there told his wife that he was unable to sleep on Monday night due to how cold it was inside the tent, and by Tuesday afternoon, the same man told his wife that it appeared the air conditioner had stopped working and that it was really hot outside. The wife of one of the Venezuelan men who has been in prison there heard the same thing on Tuesday afternoon. Her husband stated the air is hot inside the tent and that he sounded out of breath. Keep in mind, it was 96 degrees near Alligator Alcatraz Tuesday afternoon, which feels like a temperature of 105. On top of that, people imprisoned are being denied access to a secure line to speak to their legal counsel. In layman's terms, whenever people are imprisoned, there are 2 lines. One that is recorded where you can talk to your family and friends, and one that is not recorded where you are allowed to speak to your legal counsel. Additionally, families have been trying to check on their loved ones, but there is a lack of information, and right now people don't know if those who are in prison there are under the custody of ICE or the state. This is absolutely a disaster.
Breaking news. Florida Governor DeSantis, ICE, and Department of Homeland officials are covering up a mystery illness at Alligator Alcatraz. What? Yes, there appear to be detainees that are getting sick, many of them with a mystery illness. It's been reported through various individuals that are there, and here is the latest info that I have. A Venezuelan detainee, Luis Rivas Velasquez, was taken there detained, 38 years old, in perfect health. And he started complaining for 2 days that he was having trouble breathing. And the guards just laughed at him and they denied him medical attention, medical care. It continued to get worse until he actually passed out and basically collapsed. What? Yes, he passed out and collapsed after asking for medical care. And then he was taken on to Kendall Hospital in Kendall, which is southwest Miami. And he was treated there for some type of respiratory illness that has been reported. But the Alligator Alcatraz officials, whether it was under Governor DeSantis's control, under ICE, or under Department of Homeland Security, we don't know, took the medical records. There are many people that are complaining of being ill and not being able to see doctors and with similar problems. What are they covering up is what is going on. This has been released from the McEntee law firm because they were later contacted by Luis and they got the information from him. They've requested the medical records but are being denied the medical records, it appears. No one wants to release medical records of what actually is going on other than supposedly some type of respiratory illness from an infection. From what? From what? What is causing people to get an infection or whatever else it is there that they're refusing to tell us about and apparently not taking very well good care of the detainees. Clearly, if they're getting sick from a respiratory illness that they didn't have before and they're getting an Alligator Alcatraz, sounds like a problem to me. What do you think? This is the latest, and I got more breaking on from the Judge Kathleen Williams too in another video. Love you if my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cougars, and burned out light bulbs. Let me know what you think.
Have to explain to their grandchildren why you did that.
I need you guys to listen to me. Please don't scroll. This is not a joke. What I'm about to tell you is what's happening in the world right now. It's not a rumor. It's not fake. It's happening right now. Hi, my name is Shanti, and I have a 21-year-old friend locked away in Alligator Alcatraz. And if you don't know what Alligator Alcatraz is, it's an immigrant detention center located in Florida. And a lot of the immigrants are in there waiting so they can get a court case to see if they can stay in the U.S. or get deported. It's meant to hold the immigrants there, but as they're waiting, they're getting tortured. They're starving them, they're chaining them up, they're mocking them, they're torturing them in silence. This is not a place of justice. This is a place where humanity is stripped away behind closed doors, and nobody's really hearing about it because they don't talk about it. This is modern day slavery hidden in plain sight. People aren't really woke to what's happening in these detention centers because they're downplaying it, saying the immigrants are complaining about cold sandwiches. They're not complaining about cold sandwiches. They're complaining because they're being tortured, they're being chained up, they're being starved. The AC barely works, they're being bit by mosquitoes so bad to the point where there's blood on the covers. This is no complaint about food. They're mentally and physically getting hurt. This is a cry for help. This is modern day slavery. My friend came here trying to follow every legal process. He has a court date and everything. Came here for a better life for himself. He's only 21 years old, but he still has to suffer. And my friend has been tortured multiple times, not just once. There's many others in there going through the same pain. 2 weeks ago, 2 white officers called my friend. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to put it on the screen. Called him out of his name, racially slurred. Then they ordered others to put him in something called the box. They handcuffed his hands to his feet like an animal. Not only did they lock his hands to his feet, but they left him in the burning sun for 7 hours. No food, no water, no shade, no help. And when the sun moved off of him, the shade came in. He said, "Oh no, move him back in the sun."
he was nothing, like he wasn't human, like he didn't even deserve to breathe. He told him to move him back in the sun. My friend said his back was hurting. His feet was chained to his hands in an awkward position, hurting for so many hours, chained to the ground. And when he asked for water, they mocked him. One of the white officers said, "Oh, you want water?" They brought him over a cup, an empty cup, and said, "Drink this." And they laughed like it was a joke. Like him wanting water because he was dehydrated was a joke. Like, are you kidding me? And you guys think that's okay? You telling me you think because they're immigrants, they have to suffer through this pain? They don't get to get treated like humans because they're not from the US? And then y'all want to get on my page and leave me threats and tell me that they deserve this and maybe I should get sent there. And then you guys are saying they're getting great treatment and that they're complaining about cold sandwiches. Come on now. And you know what's even worse is that my friend suffered through that once. That was 2 weeks ago, and it happened again 2 days ago. He went through getting tortured again. How many times is this gonna happen? How many times is my friend gonna have to get tortured physically before he shuts down? Leaving him in the sun for 7 hours with no food or no water, not feeding him for days, giving them small portions of food when they do eat. I'm angry for them. I'm frustrated. I was afraid at first to speak up, but honestly, I don't care anymore. I really do not care. If my voice is what's gonna help, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it at my advantage because no one's speaking up about it, because no one knows about it, but they don't have no one in there, and I do, so I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna be his voice for him, for them. My friend's not the same. He's broken. His voice sounds hurt more and more each day. He's losing his faith, but all I can tell him is to keep his faith with God. Keep his head up. You know, I'm trying, but how many times before he gives up? This place is trying to break them. And that's what they want to do. They want to break them. They want to crush his spirit. They're trying to make these people crazy so they can do something to them. And for anyone thinking this is okay, I'm going to need you to go to the doctor's appointment to get your head checked out because I don't know what's wrong with you. And I want to tell you guys, there are blood stains on them blankets from so many mosquitoes. The big swarms of mosquitoes that are in there that they're complaining about is no joke. My friend had his shirt took one day so he can suffer through all the mosquitoes eating him. They didn't give him back his shirt till another 2 days later. The air goes out consistently. Mind you, it's in Florida. Florida, it's hot. It gets up to 90 to 100 degrees here. I can't imagine the air going out. And it's days where he doesn't eat, hours where he doesn't eat. And when he does eat, it's cold food and it's tiny portion. They're not complaining about the taste of food. They're complaining because they don't even get fed sometimes. The portions of the food can't even fill them up. They're dehydrated. They're starving. They're not getting treated like human. And you guys are saying this is okay? And let me be clear, just because you don't have a legal status does not mean you should be tortured. A lot of them have families in there. A lot of them are young men trying to start a better life for themselves. And just because of their status, half of them aren't even criminals. Let's talk about that. Half of them aren't even criminals. They are human just like us. They're just trying to make a better life, just like we all are. And if you stay silent, you are part of the problem too.
Good morning, everyone. We have a huge situation as there is a massive hunger strike going on in the Alligator Alcatraz facility. Please like and repost this so we can get this out to as many as possible. A hunger strike has entered its 11th day in Alligator Alcatraz as detainees protest the inhumane and dangerous conditions. One detainee, Pedro Hernandez, was hospitalized during the strike but still refuses to eat. His wife is terrified that he'll die in custody or be deported to Cuba alone. Hernandez said in a phone call, "We've all been hungry since Tuesday. I'm not going to eat another plate of food until they show us respect." This has prompted outrage from his wife and other community members as Democratic leaders held an emergency town hall to demand reform and accountability from Florida. One speaker said, "Florida has struck an unholy bargain with the Trump administration. People are not getting food, hygiene, or medical care. These conditions are substandard and cause irreparable harm." This is big, honestly, and we must continue to speak out for the people in these facilities just as they speak out for themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all into this together because we don't know who's next to be sent to these facilities. We must speak out because no human should have to live through something like this. It goes against every basic human right. It is a human rights violation, and that is an understatement. Genuinely, it is. Like, this isn't something anyone should have to go through. We are all people, and we must work to free our fellow people, because we all live, we all function, we all breathe, we all eat, we all shit the same way. Like, there's no point. It is just racism that is leading us to human rights violations, and it's stupid. It really is. Just because you don't like the color of someone's skin doesn't mean you have the right to send them to a facility that essentially kills them. Like, that is fucking insane, and it shouldn't be the case. It needs to stop. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. Like and repost it to get the information out, and drop a follow for more news content. Later.
The fact that they were able to stop further construction on Alligator Alcatraz, and they are trying to completely stop operations through environmental laws, is phenomenal. Environmental groups and this tribe went in front of a federal judge to have Florida halt operations and construction of these camps because they're claiming that these camps operate on sensitive wetlands that house protected animals and plants that could reverse billions of dollars of restoration. And if you know anything about Florida, you know they take their restoration seriously. The judge has issued a temporary restraining order that halts all further construction in the area so that they can finish the lawsuit without things changing. But where this gets complex is the environmentalists are claiming that the detention center and Florida has broken National Environmental Policy Act, which is a federal thing. But Florida is arguing that this is a statewide thing because Florida itself is funding, building, and doing all this. But the environmentalists are claiming this would not be a thing without the federal input. So this is a federal problem. The judge has since stated that it is at minimum both federal and state. There's also a second lawsuit going on pertaining to civil rights because people at Alligator Alcatraz are being barred from seeing their lawyers, held without charges, and the federal immigration court is canceling bond hearings. And that's a violation of constitutional rights. All of this is going to be at a hearing on August 18th, which is actually the day before the Epstein files are supposed to be released via subpoena. I don't know how much I trust the court systems right now, let alone the fact that it's in Florida. O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony. But Ron DeSantis also just agreed with the Miami courts in stopping the movement of local elections to 2026, which would have given Republicans the benefit of an extra year in the positions they're in. So it's a weird thing that he made a good decision for such a bad guy. As of right now, there's been no rulings because the environmental lawsuit hearing just happened. But when you have Trump and his administration finding loopholes to get these projects and camps off the ground, people need to get creative like this in trying to stop them.
Well, as you have heard from the various speakers in the other clips, things are not going on okay there. The conditions are beyond deplorable. It doesn't matter if these guys are illegal, but you don't have to treat them like this. Even prisoners are treated better than these people. So I think if something is not done, things will not be okay with the administration. So, but there is hope. Several people have said that that the camps the camp might be closed because there's a court order that was issued. However, I'll just keep you posted to see whether things will go on okay. However, what I would suggest is that we just pray for them and I hope that all will go well. So yeah. Anyway, hit the like, share, and the subscribe buttons. And for more such issues, subscribe for this channel, One Man Podcast. Thank you and have a good one. Till the next episode. Yeah.